Today on the coolest places on Earth, we swim with sharks, play volleyball with our feet, break speed records, and dunk some fish. We're turning sports upside down. These are the coolest, crazy, extreme sports. So click into your boards and hang on tight, because we're getting extreme. This is the coolest places on Earth. So, what is an extreme sport? It's a term thrown around loosely, describing sports that require a level of danger, or an unusual twist on an existing sport, or even combining two different skills to make a brand new sport. Take snowboarding. It combined the skill of surfing and skiing and made one of the most popular extreme sports. Then there's wakeboarding, combining the skills of snowboarding and water skiing. Flying a kite isn't exactly extreme, but throw it together with a wakeboard, and you've got kiteboarding, an awesome extreme sport. But what if we add yet another twist? Let's head here to the country of Canada and visit Shippagan, New Brunswick. Located in the northeast part of the Acadian Peninsula, it's 99% French-speaking, and it's an excellent spot for kite surfing. There are even great kite surfing schools located nearby. But what do these kite surfing instructors do during the winter? They must be super bored. Let's follow them and see. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. This is snow kiting. This wild sport utilizes strong winds off the ocean, just like kite surfing, but often takes place on iced over water or wide open fields of snow. Whether you're a snowboarder or a skier, all you need is a kite and you're getting extreme. Sweep across flat surfaces or catch some air. The kite allows for longer hang time, so fit in a couple of tricks if you dare. For our next trick, we head here, Florence, Oregon, in the United States. It's a great town for outdoor sports, kayaking, golfing, boating, and hiking. But we can do better than that. This is Sandmaster Park. It's where snowboarders come to play during the summer. Who needs snow when you've got sand? Sandboard pioneer Lon Beal opened Sandmaster Park in 2000. As most of these extreme sports go, it's relatively new, but it's really starting to take off. It's popular in countries like Australia, Egypt, and Chile, or, places with lots of sand. Sandmaster Park in Oregon hosts 3 Dune Riders International events. It's one of the top places in the world to experience this crazy extreme sport. Okay, we've done some boarding on the snow, ice, and sand. Now, let's get back to the water. This is wakeboarding. It's an offspring of water skiing, one of the original extreme sports. The rider is usually towed behind a motorboat, and the wake from the boat creates a natural jump for the boarder. It's extreme, but is it crazy extreme? To bring the crazy, let's head to the Midwestern United States, to here, Peoria, Illinois. Peoria lies on the Illinois River, a key shipping connection between the Great Lakes and Mississippi River. Recently, an invasive fish species has shown up in large numbers throughout the river. Not only are the fish invasive, harmful to the natural environment of the Illinois River and the Great Lakes, but they're also dangerous to boaters and swimmers. Fishing for carp is encouraged in order to decrease the large population. Now that you've met the carp, let's meet our brand new crazy extreme sport. These are the Peoria carp hunters, local fishing guides ready and willing to take you out on the river for a wild fishing experience. Insert a few long, hot summer days, an insatiable thirst for carp fishing, and good old American ingenuity, and you get this: scarping. Towed behind a speedboat is an inflatable tube carrying a toy basketball hoop attached to a bucket. Also towed behind the boat is a Peoria carp hunter with nothing but a helmet and a net. This isn't catch and release. It's catch and dunk. And it's not easy. Obviously, expert water skiing skills are a must. You'll need to be hard-nosed, especially when getting hit in the nose with a carp. It takes some serious hand-eye coordination, superior balance, dunking skills, no fear, and just a small dash of the crazy. Got a little crazy in you? Visit the Peoria Carp Hunters in Peoria, Illinois. Coming up, we flip volleyball upside down, play hockey underwater, and hang out with some sharks. This is the coolest places on Earth. Let's talk about some more conventional sports, flipped upside down. Volleyball is a team sport where each side gets 3 touches to get the ball over the net to the opponents. If the ball hits the ground, or if the team fails to get the ball back over the net, a point is awarded to the opposite side. Seems simple enough. There are specific ways you have to hit the ball, like a bump, set, or spike. But in general, it's a hand sport. Another popular sport is soccer. In fact, it's one of the most popular sports in the world. Soccer is played almost entirely with the feet. Do you see where this is going? To see what happens when you combine volleyball and soccer, we cruise into Las Vegas, Nevada. Vegas is one of the premier entertainment cities in the United States, and it's recognized all over the world. The city hosts several events with a wide range and variety, including SkillCon, an event designed to showcase object manipulation, from artistic balancing acts to incredibly unique sports. Let's head to our main event. This is Sepak Takraw. It originated in the streets of Southeast Asia. Once isolated to Thailand and Malaysia, Sepak Takraw has spread all over the world. Most recently, to here in the United States. At the SkillCon event in Vegas, the best teams from around the country compete for the championship. 3-player teams battle in a display of agility and skill. As you may have guessed, it's basically volleyball without the use of your hands. Just like in soccer, you can use your feet, head, and chest. Different from volleyball, one player can touch the ball multiple times on each side. But it also has plenty of similarities. There's the serve, the setup, and the kill. These aerial assaults make Sepak Takraw quite a show. Players fly through the air, extend their legs, and direct the ball to the open space. Or they just flat out crush it. To make the kill even more challenging, just like in volleyball, players can go up for the block. A foot block, that is. When slowed down, it's incredible to see some of the last-second adjustments these players make while in midair. No question, the martial arts have a big influence on this sport too. What started as a simple street game is now one of the fastest-growing and most exciting new sports on Earth. All right, sports fans, time to flip another sport on its head. Let's talk hockey. There are various forms of the sport, like field hockey and roller hockey, but the most popular form is ice hockey. Fans from all over the world go nuts for this sport. High speeds, big hits, and plenty of action. If you're in charge of a hockey rink, your main job is to make sure the ice doesn't melt. Unless, of course, you want to get a little crazy extreme. For that, we dive into here, Los Angeles, California. Known for lots of crazy, but I bet you didn't see this coming. This is underwater hockey. It combines the skills of swimming, snorkeling, teamwork, and of course, hockey. In Los Angeles, this is the 2015 USA Underwater Hockey Championship. The best teams from all over the country compete to decide the winner. There are several different categories, including youth teams, men's and women's teams, and different skill levels. The Elite World Championships will be held in March 2016 in South Africa. Let's stay in the underwater world. Scuba diving is an extreme sport, no matter how you slice it. It's dangerous, you need special training, and there are plenty of elements that are out of your control. For example, if you're scuba diving in the ocean, you have to deal with heavy currents, sharp and dangerous coral reefs and sea plants, and of course, the unwanted guest, a shark, like this one. So, what's crazy extreme about scuba diving and trying to avoid sharks? How about scuba diving and not trying to avoid sharks? We're flying to the warm waters of the South Pacific. Welcome to Fiji, an island chain with an infinite supply of relaxation. It's a place specifically designed to melt away all your worries and rid yourself of stress. Unless you really like worrying and stress, in which case, it's also the perfect place. This is the Shark Dive. Here in Mbanga Lagoon, at the appropriately named Shark Reef Marine Reserve, you can join up with Mbanga adventure divers for a wild experience. The first half of the first dive takes place at about 100 feet, where you'll encounter the bull sharks. This spot is called the arena. The second half of the first dive takes place in what's called the den, where the smaller shark species will circle, completely at ease with the presence of divers. The second dive goes down the reef slope to about 55 feet. This is called the takeout, because it's where most of the feeding takes place. Get it? Feeding sharks while underwater. Crazy extreme factor accomplished. Coming up, it's all about toughness as we compete like a lumberjack and take a two-person sailing crew around the world. This is the coolest places on Earth. Sometimes with extreme sports, it takes a healthy combination of skill, toughness, and pure willpower. Let's see some of that in action here in Hayward, Wisconsin. Logging began here in 1850, which eventually brought in immigrants from all over Europe. In 1960, as a way to acknowledge the rich history of the logging industry in the United States, the Lumberjack World Championships were born. Now, the sport is a worldwide favorite. The Lumberjack World Championships showcases over 21 unique competitions, like the Boom Run, where two competitors run head-to-head across large floating logs without falling in. The first to make it back to the dock wins the race. Then, there's log rolling. Two competitors, a floating log, and it's all about the last person standing. It takes incredible balance and some serious strategy. Ouch! Falling on a log is not ideal. There are also the chopping competitions, old school sawing competitions, and chainsaw events. Plus, the exciting pole climb, where competitors race to the top of a 60-foot tree pole. Lumberjacks have been ingrained in pop culture through sport, style, and general folklore. But the actual work done was dangerous, low-paying, and done in primitive conditions. Their toughness helped shape the economy and infrastructure of countless settlements across the United States. Like the immigrants who came to America, the world would be a very different place if it weren't for brave people setting sail and traveling great distances. Explorers had to deal with some of the harshest ocean conditions imaginable, just in hopes of discovering a new land. Just like our friends in Wisconsin celebrating the Lumberjacks, we're gonna recognize the great sailors who explored the world. For that, let's set sail to here, Barcelona, Spain. This great city marks the start and finish to one of the most difficult and most dangerous sailing expeditions on Earth. Sailing is often considered a relaxing, elegant sport, with suntanned sailors skimming across majestic, calm waters. This is not that kind of sailing. This is about speed and survival. The Barcelona World Race is the first and only double-handed or two-person crewed non-stop round-the-world regatta. It's a one-lap race, one lap around the globe. The boats cover about 23,000 nautical miles. They travel around the tip of South Africa, underneath Australia, around the base of Chile, and back up the Atlantic, returning home in Barcelona. They cross 12 climate zones, 3 oceans, and sail through the difficult Mediterranean Sea. Not for anyone with a weak stomach, that's for sure. But these skippers are the best in the business. You're allowed 3 technical stops, which involves any stop for repairs with external assistance. This is to ensure the safety of the sailors. The boats are not permitted to sail in a designated zone around Antarctica to avoid dangerous floating ice. From the start, the sailors have to navigate the Strait of Gibraltar, which is the narrow pass that connects the Mediterranean Sea with the Atlantic Ocean. It's not as easy as it looks. The direct link between the two bodies of water creates unique flow and wave patterns, and it's tactically one of the most difficult spots in the regatta. From the Strait of Gibraltar, the sailors head for the Canary Islands in search of northeast winds. Sailing through the Canary Islands presents another tactical challenge with considerable variations in wind. They continue to ride the northeast trade winds towards the equator, where the winds will likely begin to diminish. Around the equator, there exists a ring of wind lows called the doldrums. These pockets could create windless areas as wide as 300 miles. Having no wind can be even more dangerous because you're at the mercy of the waves and currents. It can take as long as 4 days for some boats to just get through the equatorial region. As they make their way towards the Cape of Good Hope in South Africa, they rely on the southeast trade winds in the southern hemisphere. However, when they reach the latitudes around 40 degrees south, they begin to battle the roaring 40s, a name given to the very strong winds from the west that create huge swells. The crossing of the South Indian Ocean is the most difficult part of the race. Plenty of squalls from the south and cold and wet conditions from the roaring 40s. They continue the battle against the roaring 40s through the South Pacific to Cape Horn at the tip of Chile in South America. High winds off the Andes mountain range and dense fog make this trip around the Horn extremely difficult. After making the turn to head north up through the Atlantic, the first major tactical decision to make is how to pass the Falkland Islands. Most skippers tend to hug the shores of Brazil during this stretch, hoping to avoid the St. Helena anticyclone, which creates strong headwinds. After making it out of the doldrums at the equator once again, the sailors strategize on how to attack the Strait of Gibraltar and the final leg of the race. It's a harrowing experience, but a heroic accomplishment. Coming up, rev up the engines and hang on tight, because we're getting salty with speed. This is the coolest places on Earth. For our final, crazy, extreme sport, we rip across America's Southwest to here, the Bonneville Salt Flats of Utah. The Utah Salt Flats Racing Association hosts some of the premier speed record events in the world. The wide open spaces and relatively consistent terrain of the Salt Flats make for excellent drag racing and speed test opportunities. Let's get one thing clear. It's all about maximum speed here. Different classes of cars and motorcycles race for the best time. The drivers are highly skilled and highly crazy. You need to be okay with feeling a little out of control. While the Salt Flats offer a great place to reach speed records, the surface can be a little tricky. It's extreme to the max. Thanks, crazy extreme athletes. It's time to plan our next adventure. This has been the coolest places on Earth.